23 years ago, Atlanta experienced one of its darkest days in Olympic history. Welcome, where today we're recounting the top 10 most shocking Olympic tragedies. These incidents range from on-field disasters to pre-Olympic controversies that left a lasting impact on the Games and the athletes involved. Starting at number 10, we have the tragic story of Francisco Lazaro, a Portuguese marathon runner who participated in the 1912 Summer Games in Stockholm. Lazaro's death during the marathon shocked the world, as he collapsed 19 miles into the race due to overheating. He had covered his body in animal fat to prevent sunburn, but this ultimately led to an imbalance of electrolytes, causing his body temperature to rise to a fatal 105 degrees. Lazaro became the first athlete to die in the modern Olympics, and his memorial service in the Olympic Stadium drew a crowd of 23,000 mourners. Next, at number 9, we delve into the controversial displacements that occurred during the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing. Despite the grandeur of the event, it came at a cost to many citizens of Beijing who were forcefully displaced to make room for Olympic venues. Estimates vary, with some sources claiming over 1.5 million people were relocated, while the Beijing committee stated it was only 15,000. Regardless of the exact number, the displacement of thousands of people raised ethical concerns about the human impact of hosting such a large-scale event. Moving on to number 8, we recount the tragic accident involving Swiss speed skier Nicolas Bochatai during a practice run at the 1992 Winter Olympics in France. Bochatai collided with a snowcat hidden behind a bump on the slope, resulting in fatal internal injuries. Despite efforts to make safety measures more visible, such as flashing lights and sirens on the snowcat, they were not visible to Bochatai due to the terrain. This incident highlighted the inherent dangers of extreme sports showcased at the Olympics. At number 7, we revisit the intense political atmosphere surrounding the water polo match between Hungary and the USSR at the 1956 Melbourne Olympics. Just weeks after the brutal Soviet occupation of Hungary, tensions were high. Hungary's victory over the USSR was marred by a violent incident in which a Soviet player punched Hungarian player Ervin Zador, causing a severe injury. This match became known as the Blood in the Water match, reflecting the political turmoil of the era. Number 6 brings us to the tragic collapse of Danish cyclist Knud Enemark Jensen during the 1960 Summer Games in Rome. Jensen suffered a heat stroke during a team-time trial race held on an extremely hot day with temperatures reaching 104 degrees. He collapsed, fracturing his skull upon impact, and died shortly afterward. Jensen's death raised concerns about athlete safety and the impact of extreme weather conditions on Olympic competition. Finally, at number 5, we confront the disturbing issue of sexual misconduct within the United States Olympic gymnastics program. Since the late 1990s, the program has been plagued by hundreds of allegations of abuse and misconduct, particularly involving gymnasts and officials. This scandal revealed systemic failures in athlete protection and sparked a national conversation about accountability and reform within Olympic sports organizations. These tragedies and controversies serve as sobering reminders of the challenges and risks faced by athletes and organizers during the Olympic Games. Each incident leaves an indelible mark on the history of the Olympics, prompting reflections on safety, ethics, and the broader societal impact of these international sporting events. The United States Olympic gymnastics scandal, which has unfolded over several decades, represents a disturbing chapter in the history of the sport. Beginning in the late 1990s, the program faced a mounting number of allegations of sexual misconduct involving coaches, officials, and prominent figures within the gymnastics community. The scandal revealed a pattern of abuse and exploitation of young gymnasts, many of whom were aspiring athletes looking to pursue their Olympic dreams. The allegations ranged from inappropriate behavior to instances of sexual assault and exploitation, leading to significant trauma for the victims and their families. One of the most notorious figures implicated in the scandal was Larry Nassar, a former team doctor for USA Gymnastics and Michigan State University. Nassar's widespread abuse of young athletes under the guise of medical treatment came to light in the early 2010s, following investigations by journalists and survivors who bravely came forward to share their experiences. The revelations surrounding Nassar sparked a broader reckoning within the gymnastics community and the Olympic sports world. It exposed systemic failures in athlete protection, including issues related to oversight, accountability, and the culture of elite sports environments. The scandal also highlighted the power dynamics and institutional shortcomings that enabled abusive behavior to persist unchecked for years. Survivors' stories shed light on the pervasive nature of misconduct and the challenges faced by athletes in reporting abuse, particularly when it involves trusted authority figures within their sport. In response to the scandal, there have been calls for reforms within USA Gymnastics and other Olympic sports organizations to prioritize athlete safety and well-being. Measures have been implemented to improve reporting mechanisms, enhance oversight of coaching practices, and provide better support for athletes who come forward with allegations of abuse. The impact of the Olympic gymnastics scandal extends beyond the sport itself, prompting broader conversations about safeguarding young athletes and holding institutions accountable for protecting those in their care. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of ethical conduct, transparency, and accountability in sports governance, and the protection of athletes' rights and dignity. As investigations continue and survivors advocate for change, the scandal remains a cautionary tale about the need for vigilance and proactive measures to prevent similar abuses from occurring in the future. The resilience and courage of the survivors who spoke out have been instrumental in driving reform and ensuring that athlete safety remains a top priority in Olympic sports and beyond. 23 years ago, tonight marked one of Atlanta's darkest days, recalling a series of tragic events associated with the Olympics. This sobering narrative begins with a recount of the most shocking Olympic tragedies, each of which left an indelible mark on history. Starting at number 10,